So I'm trying out a new recipe. Well, I've done it twice before. One was a fail, second time was a success. Let's see what happens this time. Preheat oven to 350. A half cup of melted butter. Now, I don't like to heat the butter so that it's hot. I just like to heat it enough so that it's melted. That's not in the instructions, but that's generally a good rule of thumb when you're going to add eggs, because you don't want your eggs to be scrambled. You don't want to cook your eggs when you're going to be adding them to a recipe. And if your butter is hot, that's usually what ends up happening. 1 cup sugar. Now it says to put the sugar, vanilla, eggs, and butter and just beat it all together at once. But when I did that, it turned really, really bad. So the second time I did it, I kind of creamed the butter and sugar, and it turned out a lot better. So I'm going to try that again this time. Creaming means to beat the sugar and butter, for at least a couple of minutes. You'll see the end product when I'm done. I'm going to show you what it looks like, but let's get beating. This is obviously not creamed. This is just barely mixed. Do not stop here. Okay, can you see the difference now? This is creamed. So this is what I was aiming for. Not a mixture, a creaming. I think this is a secret to a lot of baking where you have to mix eggs and sugar. It's the creaming. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. And then we beat it again. I like adding the eggs one at a time because it's just much easier to incorporate them into the batter. If you add them at the same time, it's a lot harder to mix it. That's what I find. So I'm going to add one at a time and mix it. Or rather, beat it. Now going to add the second egg and blend that as well. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. This is after the second egg. Looks nice, fluffy, creamy. Oh, so good. Now it says to just add the dry ingredients all at once with no premixing. I don't like to do that because you could end up with a pocket of cocoa or whatever that just didn't mix properly. So I'm going to premix the dry ingredients. Half cup all-purpose flour. Remember to scoop and level so you don't get too much flour. 1/3 of a cup cocoa. Scooping and leveling is the best way to get precise measurements. 1/4 of a teaspoon baking powder. 1/4 of a teaspoon salt. Mix. Now is my time. I do my own special thing. I take a pair of gloves and I mix by hand. I prefer mixing by hand because I like the feel of it, but I don't like the batter getting in between my fingers. I'm a little OCD, so that's why I like doing it this way. I don't like the waste of rubber, but this is just how I like to do it. So I'm sorry for the waste of rubber, but this is how I like to bake. Add flour mixture to batter mixture and mix. This is what I remember from the time it went right. So I think I did it right this time. Let's see what the finished product looks like. The instructions say to use a 9-inch square pan. I have an 8-inch square pan. That's going to become important later. I have also found, contrary to advice, it says to grease the sides of the pan. I'm going to use cooking spray. There we go. Now it says to add to pan. So let's do that. Smell that chocolatey goodness. Maybe I should have tried chips this time. Well, let's see if I figured out this recipe before I start experimenting. It's so thick. And like last time, I'm going to have to spread it around a bit. This is just so rich. Okay. I think that's about even. On to the next step. Bake at 350 for 25 to 35 minutes. But because I have a smaller pan, I found out that not only do I need 25 minutes, I need 10 minutes plus the 25 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 35 minutes. See you in 35 minutes. While I'm waiting, I may as well do dishes, because I did make the mess. Dishes done. 27 minutes left on the counter. Not bad. This is 35 minutes later. Maybe this was put in for a little too long. I don't know. The middle is no longer jiggly. When I put it in for 25 minutes, the middle was jiggly. So I hope I didn't overbake this. We'll find out after it cools. So we'll get back to this in a few hours. Okay, it says to cut into 12 after it's cooled. As you can hear, it's crunching a bit, so I'm afraid that I overbaked it. Either that or it's going to be just right. I don't know. Well, let's try a corner piece. Still fudgy. Maybe overbaked by about 5 minutes. But still really, really good. So, I think I could have just maybe not done it for as long, probably about 5 minutes. But seriously, not that bad. I think I did a pretty good job. Congrats to me.